In today's lesson, we are going to be talking about passing arrays to methods. Now, I'm going to start off just by kind of reviewing passing just normal primitives to methods. So here we have a method, and it's called method, and all it does is take one integer parameter. So here's an argument. In both cases, they're called number, but it's important to keep in mind that because of scoping, that these two variables, the number variable here and the number variable here, are different numbers. So here we have number, and so I have number 1. We print out the program. It says the number in the main program is, and it should be 1. Right? Then we pass it to the method. It comes up here, and so this becomes a 1. Then we say number plus plus, so then it becomes 2, and then we have the number in the method is, and it should say 2. But then when we come back down to the main program, right? Well, what happens? Is it going to say 1 or is it going to say 2? Well, let's take a look. Okay, and in the main program, we have actually that the main program's method, the main program's number is unaffected by the method. Now, the reason why is because this is what's called pass by value. And so what happens is the method, when the main passes the variable over, it's not actually passing the variable itself. It's actually passing it's the value of the variable. So it's basically making a copy of it for the method to use, right? And then the method can do whatever it wants with its copy, but when you come back to main, it actually doesn't get changed, right? And a common mistake that people make is that they will also say something like this. So, well, what if I return it? Okay, would that actually change anything? Right? Well, let's take a look. And no, it actually doesn't do anything, because even though you returned it, the main program did not reassign that number back to be its number. You would have to say something like number is equal to the method's number, or whatever the method returned. All right, and now you can see it is changed. All right, so basically what I'm trying to say is that when we pass variables or primitives to methods, if the method makes a change to it, it actually doesn't change it in the main program. Okay, now is it the same for arrays? All right, well, let's take a look. So we're going to modify this, and so what I'm going to do is I'm going to tell this method that it's supposed to accept an array. All right, and what I'm going to do is I'm just going to change the first element of the array and see what happens here. So my array is called number. All right, and here all right, so what I've done here is I have made an array of size 1, and all it has is a 1 inside of it. All right, so number is equal to, we'll just say number 0 plus plus, so something like that. Now, just so you know, if you don't know already, you can actually assign the elements of an array like this. So if you put them in these curly braces, then what will happen is that, or curly brackets, I guess, what will happen is that this will automatically detect that there's 5 items, so it will create an array of size 5 and assign these values to those items. All right, so all I'm going to do, it actually doesn't matter what size I make it. I'm going to send this method or this array up to the method. The method's going to increase element 0 by 1, and then it's going to come back and we'll say, well, what is the value of element 0? Okay, so let's take a look. Now, over here, actually, I forgot just to change this. Right, so at the beginning, in the main program, the value was 1. And then in the method, it became 2 because we did a plus plus. But hey, look at this. Back in the main program, it became a 2. So why did it do that? Okay, well, the reason why is because in a method, we actually, when we're passing it an array, we're passing it the memory address of the array. So the actual item that it's copying is the memory address. And so as you saw with the error that I had earlier, If I take away this, okay, it is still technically passed by value, right? You can see that the address here, it has never changed, right? So what I've done is I've actually passed the address up to the method. Now, when the method accesses the address, it's going directly to the memory in RAM and changing the value in the memory at that address. So that's why in the main program, when you go back to it, that the value is actually still changed, right? So it remains changed because you've passed the address, not the values in the array. All right, so I hope that kind of clears things up. Another common mistake when you're passing methods into or arrays into methods is that people will do something like this. So when they call it, what they'll do is they'll send it like with some brackets there or braces. And I think the reason why is because they're trying to tell the main program that I'm trying to send an array. Okay, well, you don't need to tell it that because it already knows that number is an array. Right? In the same way that if I was sending an integer, I wouldn't have to say like int number. Okay, I wouldn't have to like tell the computer that it is an integer that I'm sending. It already knows what it is. All right, but that's pretty much it for passing methods to arrays. And if you have any questions, put them in the comments. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next video.